You again, huh? That wasn't very nice. Now he's got to leave. I'll tell you when the fuck we leave, all right? Get the fuck away from me.
Go watch the bikes.
Go watch the bikes.
Satan.
Now you can't leave.
Drag him the fuck out!
And then they drag him out in the street.
To a great song.
To the sounds of Italo Rock.
What's my car?
And welcome to episode 97, almost there, of the Music Relish Show. My name is Mark, and going from left to right, Perry and Lou were on tonight. How you doing, guys? Hope you all had a good holiday.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had pneumonia.
And, oh, man, that's the best present anybody
I
can
had
get.
pneumonia for Christmas.
And the Boogie Woogie stew?
Like David Crosby. I had the flu for Christmas.
You had a blue Christmas.
Blue.
Yeah, and
It
you
was
sounded
fun.
like
It was
Ron
good.
Wood too, right? Yeah. So, had a great day, Perry. I have something for you. I was walking Nyack with Anthony again today because it was 50 degrees up here in New York, and we stopped at the Edward Hopper House and we looked at some artwork. We had a
Cool.
good time.
Cool.
Do
So
you
anyway,
know,
tonight-
I'm friends with his nephew, Tommy Hopper.
If I tell my son-in-law that, he's gonna like worship you. I better not.
Yeah,
Tommy's
and
a good guy.
I admire Dennis Hopper, the art.
There you go. Tommy's a local actual musician like me.
So on tonight's show, we're going to talk about. We're going to watch some video of Barbara Lynn
And
performing.
listen, and audio and visual.
We're going to have music trivia, original versions of hit songs, an album review of the Beach Boys' Love You, and always Random Relish. And Lou, of course, is going to have a couple people that we may have lost over the past year, which we did lose. So let's get right into it.
Dead people.
I just want to do this every year, and you guys are going to end up getting mad at me, but I tell my son every year, do not buy me anything for Christmas because I'm broke and he doesn't listen. So I just want to show you real quick the CDs that he bought me. All right? It's really quick. One hand clapping from
Paul McCartney and Wings, yeah.
Ah.
Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band at the Hammersmith Odeon, London, 75. This was part of the Born to Run box set. We were talking about this like a couple weeks ago. King Crimson Red. This is the Steven Wilson remix, Dolby Atmos and everything else. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young live at the Fillmore East, 1969.
Cool.
And you got me vinyls. Got me New Order, Substance, which is a collection of their 12 inches. Came out in the 80s originally. And this kid knows what I like. Duke Ellington, Midnight in Paris, on vinyl.
Well-rounded musician, Mark.
I got a good kid there. I tell you what, he drives me crazy. But
He's a good kid. You have a good ear palate.
yeah, he does. He does. He doesn't really like as much my. He thought I didn't like New Order, so he was trying to thinking he was getting me into them. I said, Anthony, I've always liked
He's
New
being
Order.
subversive.
And he gave me something called a stylophone. Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard of it.
Came
I
out
have
in
not.
England in like 1969. It's
What
one of the
does it
original
do?
keyboards. You put
Oh,
the
yeah.
pen to the keyboard and you play.
Yeah, that's
It's
kind of
very
how they
simple
played
thing.
that thing on the Beach Boys song. Ooh, you know, with the
Yeah.
little keyboard thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
it's
a
cute little
theremin.
thing.
It was a theremin, but there had a keyboard on it.
Did it really? Okay.
So
Oh.
nobody was
Huh.
actually there doing this
Manipulating.
thing. They were just going ooh, on the keyboard.
Like that
thing.
crazy video we played a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Theremin
yeah.
demonstration.
Yeah, yeah.
Madame Buffon or whatever
Russian
she was.
lady. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Interestingly, this is
Blavatsky,
the most.
Madame Blavatsky.
This is the most basic one. There's a one with all knobs.
Can you
also make-
plug that into anything?
It looks like a
Yeah, it's
hooter.
got a mini plug output, a little mini plug, so I could actually go into my computer and use it for songs. You know.
Yeah, into your audio interface.
Yeah. But This company also sells a little theremin. It's mini. It costs about $100. I'm thinking about getting it. How bad could it be? So interesting. English company.
Good Christmas.
Yeah. That's all. I told him. I said, I'm broke. We have nothing. Of course, I got him a bathrobe. And I feel bad.
I'm broke. We have nothing, but let me drop $100 on this.
He's the one. He's Mr. Working Man. He's got a good job now. Anyway, let's start off the show with, as we always do, with some random relish. And since I'm bringing up mine, Perry, you want to start it off?
Sure, yeah. I came across a thing with Ringo promoting football.
Hey, are you ready for some football? Yes, it's Monday night. Let's go.
And look whose number he's wearing. He's wearing John Lennon's number.
Yeah, number 9.
Yeah. That was
What
his
year was
lucky
that?
number, right?
Well, was he killed on December 9th or was that the 8th?
No. His birthday was like October 9th, and
October
you know,
9th,
the
yeah.
kid was born on
Number
October
9.
9th, and 9,
Yeah.
number 9. That was his so-called lucky number. And
That looked like the early 90s, maybe.
you think so?
Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
Hey, are you ready for some football?
Definitely.
Yes, it's Monday night. Let's go.
Yeah. Either late 80s, early 90s is the latest. But yeah.
Did he start the Ringo, his All-Star, like 88?
Yeah.
Great lineup.
Yeah.
He's trying to promote it, so.
And I randomly came across Porky Pig hitting his thumb with a hammer.
Son of a gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
That's good.
Was that really Mel Blanc doing that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the things people do when you're off camera and you're having fun, Like when you sign off and you pretend no one's listening and you call people bastards.
Yeah.
Like Casey Kasem learned.
Well, that's all I have for random.
That was cute.
I got two things. A venereal disease. No, a venerable.
Because no one likes a
Jersey-
fella with a social disease.
We were going to say veritable? What were we going
Veritable. Thank you, Perry. Veritable musician from New Jersey that we've all known about for years. Maybe not loved him, but Southside Johnny. He was performing on December 4th at the New Jersey Arts Center, and he abruptly walked off stage. And he immediately announced just no more touring. He's
Yeah.
done. I don't know what it was. We don't know. I don't know if anything's come out since then. I just read it when it happened, but he's 74. So
I know somebody that works for him, and there was talk that he's going to retire very, very soon. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
And in fact, that guy used to live across the street from me on Brickell Avenue in Westwood, New Jersey.
And he will have a radio show on satellite radio or something.
Sure.
He
in the
has a
Grand
record
Garage.
collection that puts most people to shame.
Yeah.
Apparently. So
Oh, I bet,
there'll be
I
a
bet.
Southside Johnny radio station.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got
No
to meet
doubt I'm
Southside Johnny.
serious.
I went to his house one time
Really?
to pick up a couch.
Wow.
That's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
Was it a good couch?
It was a good couch.
Poppy didn't sit on it first?
I can't say,
Okay. All right.
but it's a true story.
Okay. Well, this gets even sadder. I got another story. It's going to make you guys really teary-eyed. The last 2 Sam Goody stores have officially closed. Did you know there were 2
There's
Sam
still a
Goody
couple
stores?
open.
Cue the Terry Jacks. Boom, boom, boom,
They
boom.
really should, yeah. Wow, Sam. Wait, Mark, where are these 2 stores?
They were located in Ohio Valley Mall in St. Clairsville, Ohio, and the Rogue Valley Mall in Medford, Oregon.
Wow. Sam Goody.
Wow.
It's kind of like Kmart. Here in Westwood, we had one of the final 2 Kmarts in the whole country up until about maybe 8 months ago.
Wow.
It's weird when you're living near the last of a.
We had one here too that became the Whole Foods I ended up working in.
Really?
It was big, yeah. It was a big one.
Yeah. And it's funny. I never liked Sam Goody because remember when you could go to your local guy, like we would go to Music Merchant and get a CD for $7.99, $8.99. They had the balls to sell for $16.99. They didn't care.
Were
about
you
prices.
You were joking about being sad, right? Because
Oh,
I always
definitely.
hated Sam Goody.
I don't think I ever bought. I might have bought some CDs there, but I remember they used to sell instruments. There were like legit drum kits up on. They always put them up on the high wall. But you could go in there and buy a Slingerland or a Tama drum kit at one point.
Yeah, 1973. Yeah,
No, late 70s. I remember seeing that.
I remember Goody got it. Goody got it.
Sam Goody got it.
Now my friend worked in the one in Westwood by Walmart, And he had a rather uncomfortable experience. Al Di Meola came in because Al Di Meola lives in Wawa.
The famous jazz guitar player
In
Al
New
Di Meola.
Jersey.
Yeah. So he came in one day and he just wanted to see what CDs they had of his, and they had maybe one or two, and he was kind of miffed about
Yeah, I've
that.
heard
but
you tell the story.
what do you
already.
expect?
Yeah.
It's Sam Goody. They don't
Yeah.
care. You know, they were selling the hits, you know?
Yeah, he's behind the esoteric jazz section.
Yeah. But that's all I got there. So that's it for random. Lou, did you want to talk about somebody we lost this year? I wasn't supposed to say it that way. Sorry.
Why don't we just bring things really down a bit right now, okay?
Jing, jing, jing.
Hello. All right.
Something ominous this way comes.
Yeah. Goodbye,
Yes,
Papa.
yes, it is the it is the year-end death list. People who have gone. It was a very good year. It was a very so. Let's just get this over with, because
Yeah.
as we know, a lot of the people are passing on. Rock and roll's old, music's old.
They're
Let's
all
just get
getting
to
old.
it.
Our guys, our
Right.
idols
And
are getting old.
I call it the cruel month of January, but Lucius Toll Rose, the rhythm guitarist for Funkadelic. This one hit me hard. David Soul, the actor.
Oh,
Starsky
I didn't
and
know he
Hutch.
died.
He died,
The
yeah,
actor and
80.
one-hit wonder.
3 packs of cigarettes a day. Anyway, see you on the other side, Hutch. Let's see. We got Mary Weiss of the Shangri-Las, one of my favorite girl groups. Melanie, I forgot. Melanie passed away. The folk singer Melanie from
Oh, wow. I
New
didn't know.
Jersey, basically Red Bank, New Jersey. She was a local girl. Yeah, I got a brand new pair of roller skates. Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, the actor Carl Weathers died. The MC5, the old Detroit proto-punk band, lost 2 members this year, both at the age of 75. Wayne
Guess they're
Kramer
not
and
reformed.
Dennis Thompson. I think Wayne Kramer's a guitar player, singer. Dennis Thompson was a drummer. Aston Family Man Barrett, the band leader and co-producer of Bob Marley and the Wailers. The last remaining member of the Spinners, Henry Farnborough. Spinners had some great songs. It's a shame.
Yes.
Could it be I'm Falling in Love, Rubber Band Man? Mojo Nixon, gone at 66.
Ah,
Elvis is everywhere. Richard Lewis, the comedian Richard Lewis.
I miss him.
Okay. Trivia question. Who played bass with Led Zeppelin at Live Aid? With Tony Thompson, Phil Collins, Page and Plant. Who's the bass player? I never knew this until
Was it the guy from Duran Duran? No.
I have no idea. No, it wasn't. The guy, his name was Paul Martinez. Ended up playing with Robert Plant and solo stuff, I believe.
So he's dead?
Yeah. Eric Carmen of the Raspberries. They were a good
long.
band all the way. What were his big hits?
They were shitty songs, man, I thought.
They were kind of schmaltzy, all by myself. Never gonna fall in love again. Never gonna fall in love
and then
again.
their rock song. Down.
Right. Hungry Eyes. Hungry Eyes. Big hits.
Oh, yeah.
Hungry Eyes.
Yeah.
Now, I get him
Dirty
mixed up. Who was
Dancing.
it? Was he from New Jersey? Wasn't Eric Carmen from Cresskill?
No. Gary
No,
Wright was.
Gary Wright was from Cresskill. I get them mixed up. The late
Why?
great Joe. What's that?
Why?
Because
How
their
could you get them
keyboard
mixed up?
Their keyboard players within their voices kind of remind me of one another. There's a musical similarity there. I know what I'm talking about. SCTV's the late great Joe Flaherty. Remember? That's that's for not for the young people maybe. Chicago television. John Candy, the Ackroyd Blue Shield came from Second City. I think Lorraine
Eugene
Newman. I think
Levy?
most of them did. What's that?
Eugene Levy came from Second City. right?
Absolutely. Yeah, all those guys. Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah. Kevin!
Joe Flaherty did a mean Slim Whitman. Those skits are fun. There's some funny stuff. Let's see. The Ultravox bassist Chris Cross. He was in the Band-Aid video. We are the
Do they
Feed the
know it's
World.
Christmas?
Yeah. John Sinclair, who I think you mentioned him, didn't you? No, John Sinclair, managed the MC5. He started the White Panthers. He was an activist. He's a radical. His name pops up in the John Lennon books. He was I don't know if he's one of the Yippies or not. Yippee! Let's see. Dickie Betts died of the Allman Brothers. Great Dickie Betts.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mike Pinder, co-founder of the Moody Blues. Original keyboard player, I think. He wrote a lot of songs for them. Rockabilly great, Dwayne Eddy. Rebel Rouser, big song. Let's see. Richard Tandy, the original keyboard player for ELO, Richard Tandy.
He was a fantastic musician.
He was great. Daniel Kramer, the photographer, he did Bob Dylan's early records. big records. Steve Albini, the producer of the Pixies and worked with Nirvana.
That surprises me. He couldn't have been that old. Yeah.
David Sanborn.
That's a big loss.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Played on Bruce Springsteen's 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Young Americans, David Bowie.
Among thousands of sessions.
Yeah, the great drummer, Johnny Barbada, played with the Turtles, Jefferson Starship, a lot of sessions. Let's see, Doug Engel, vocalist for Iron Butterfly. Peter Collins, the rock producer, record producer. Peter Collins produced Rush.
Oh, yeah, Rush.
He did like four records for Rush. Good records, too.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got John Mayall, the great John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, broke many a career. Greg Kinn. Yep.
Yeah.
Jeopardy, the breakup song. Jerry Fuller, the songwriter, traveling man, wrote Young Girl. Sergio Mendes brought bossa nova to the mainstream. The biggest loss of all, Screaming Scott Simon from Sha Na Na.
Oh,
I love that show. Herbie Flowers, the bass player, played on Walk on the Wild Side. I hate that song. Space Oddity, Diamond Dogs, a lot of Harry Nilsson stuff. The songwriter, Will Jennings, worked with Eric Clapton a lot, wrote Tears in Heaven.
yeah. Among many songs. He wrote a lot of songs with him.
Yeah, that was his modern stuff. T.O. Jackson of the Jackson 5 died. Songwriter J.D. Souther. Freddie Salem of the Outlaws. Remember the Outlaws?
I do, but I don't remember Freddie Salem.
He was one of the third guitar player. Second. He was one of the second, first or third
Well,
guitar
there were 8
players.
guitar players. So,
Yeah, no, they had the triple guitar threat. Southern Rock.
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson passed on this year. Sissy Houston, mother of Whitney Houston. Phil Lesh. Terry
Yeah.
Garr. Sadly, Terry Garr.
Terry Garr.
Quincy Jones, Say No More.
Mm.
The great rock producer, Shel Talmy. We spoke about him recently. Producer of the early Kinks and The Who. Apparently was a great guy. He's had a great reputation. Mark, you mentioned Peter Sinfield, the lyricist.
Yeah.
The King Crimson did a lot of lyrics for them. Let's see. Andrew Paley, know who he is?
That sounds very familiar.
He worked with Brian Wilson and Brian Wilson's latter stuff and Brian Wilson's comeback stuff. Brian Wilson called him the most frighteningly talented musician he'd ever worked with.
Oh.
Alice Brock, we spoke about her recently. Alice's Restaurant, the iconic Alice Brock. Let's see. Michael Brewer of Brewer and Shipley. So now they're just
One toke.
So now they're just N Shipley.
Shipley N.
That's going to be a tough act.
That's boy, you're a whore.
Come on, that was funny. Come on. As a whore living on your podcast, his name is Calicchio. Slim Dunlop. You know who Slim Dunlop was?
Yeah.
Dunlop string.
Yeah, he was the replacement for Bob Stinson in the Minneapolis band, The Replacements. He was on one album.
Yep.
Don't Tell a Soul. Good guitar player. Let's see. Alpha Anderson, the co-vocalist of Chic. Almost done here. Let's see. All right, that's pretty much it. But I want to talk about one guy last. And you mentioned his name before, but you know him. His name is Bob Heil. So Bob Heil was the inventor of the Talkbox, the Bob Heil Talkbox. I can hear a lot of Peter Frampton stuff, Bon Jovi stuff.
Want a quick example?
Yeah.
Okay, we won't go anymore.
That's all we need to hear.
Yeah, that's all we got. We can do.
Joe Walsh used it.
Yeah.
Lots of people used it. Yeah.
A lot of people use it. You know, it's a tube that goes into your mouth, and you can play through a. Yeah, Peter Frampton and all those guys. Joe Walsh used it through a guitar, but I saw a band called Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
Okay, they did it, but he did it through a keyboard. It sounded completely different. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. But you know, the guy was an inventor, but he was one of the earlier pioneers of concert sound. He was talking about the Beatles sound system, where it was like a little mixing board plugged into the PA system of like Shea Stadium, and it was nothing. So when bands wanted to have improved sound, for example, the Grateful Dead and the Who, they came to him. He started a company called Heil Sound in 1966, and he helped the Who with their dreams of a quadraphonic stereo system. So he ended up touring with the Who, touring with the Grateful Dead, but he was a Wurlitzer organist, so he'd play in theaters and like Wurlitzer festivals and stuff. But the guy was an inventor, but you know, he invented the Talkbox in ’73. I believe Joe Walsh was the first guy to use it. And
Might be, yeah.
He used it a lot. So I mean, but it's on Sweet Emotion. Those Shoes by the Eagles. Whoa.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Pink Floyd on Pigs. 3 different ones. Haitian Divorce by Steely Dan. You can hear it.
Yeah.
Hair of the Dog by Nazareth. Son of a bitch. Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. I think he overused it on that.
I had to get it in there.
They overuse everything. Bon Jovi.
He used that thing a lot, apparently. That's Richie Zambora. That was his thing.
Oh, I know that song. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, right? Yeah.
Right.
We played Bon Jovi on the Music Relish show.
You did. You did not.
New Jersey.
There you go.
It's getting edited out anyway. So.
Hey, freedom. Actually,
I think
you do me
one
a
of its
favor.
best uses was on Rufus and Chaka Khan. Tell me something good.
Yep.
I mean, like, anything in the right
Played that
hands
the
or in
other
the
week
wrong
on
hands.
the Chaka Khan. Tell me
Yeah,
something
yeah.
good.
Yep.
Tell me, right? That's
Tell
the talk
me.
box. Yeah.
Yep.
So the talk box has a box
It's
that
a
you
box
can plug
really.
in through your guitar, through your keyboard,
For your keyboard, yeah, and
whatever external instrument.
and you
Correct.
put that germ-ridden tube in your mouth after it's been on the floor at a gig. Eventually he sold that right to Dunlop. So actually, I went on Amazon and stuff. You can get one for $200, but
Well,
you know.
what would you? Come on. Why would you waste $200
Of
on
course.
that for something you can use once? You know?
or just at parties, or at work, or at
I
home,
know.
or at play.
Do you personally know anyone that uses the talk box?
No.
No, I've never seen one. on
I know a
stage.
guy that has one, and he says they give you a massive headache because what you got is that volume coming up into your mouth. It vibrates your head, and it's like because you got to have the microphone there to catch it
Yeah,
coming
but you
out of
also
your
have
mouth.
to be a good enough guitar player to know, like, say, when Frampton used it, he knows the notes he's playing in his head. So, in other words, he's just duplicating it with his mouth.
Yeah, but no, what you're doing,
you know?
you're manipulating it with your mouth. The tube just isn't there for like some. So while I think, because if you look at Frampton, he's almost chewing on the thing.
Yeah,
And so he's manipulating the guitar notes. And it's pretty interesting. I mean, the guy was an interesting inventor.
But the point is, like Richie Blackmore and Ian Gillan, boop, 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 and then they're doing it back and forth. Like, there's no talk box, but that's really what they're doing. Is just
Kind of like that,
just,
But it synthesizes the sound because it almost has that croaking like a frog thing, like that Clarence Frogman Henry song, Ain't Got a Home.
Ain't got no brother.
Motley Crue used it on Kickstart My Heart, which I can't recall that.
Oh
Me
yeah,
neither.
actually,
Mark
like
probably
that song.
knows it, but
yeah,
I
I
don't
know
know
that
it.
song.
Jeff Beck used it.
Yeah, very tastefully.
The Cracker
Lots
song.
of people used it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cracker song, Get Off This. Sly and the Family Stone. Iron Butterfly. So so you can buy a Dunlop. You can buy a Dunlop. Now, Max Weinberg used to call that Peter Frampton. He goes, that little bag he's sucking on. That was Bob Heil and the Talkbox. But he also, check this out. So not only he helped invent quadraphonic sound, he was a big touring guy, a sound engineer. I think he invented that technique where you see singers using two mics.
Yeah.
That was him. So
okay.
so
Early
the
70s,
Talkbox was
that
just a little
big.
icing on the cake for what he really contributed to music.
I saw that in the late 60s, early 70s. A lot of performers using two mics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it had something to do with feedback or something, eliminating
It's got to do with feedback. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's a feed to like a live to like the board for recording.
I think on January 1st, which is New Year's Day,
That's what they call it in most places.
ABC is going to show the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony. And, of course, they're going to go through all the dead people that you just mentioned. That's going to be their tribute.
They're not going to mention Bob Heil. I don't think so.
No. They're going to mention the musicians.
Sure.
They'll give it all of 30 seconds flashing by real quick. That's what they'll do.
Well, I'm sure they'll slow down when it comes to Q, And,
they'll eliminate some people because they're kind of douchebags like that.
But they're just going to go through a list of all the people musicians who have had who've died in 2024.
So what are you saying?
I'm not saying
24
anything.
was
I'm
a
saying
whore.
that finally the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony is going to be on television because not everybody has a streaming
account.
service.
Yeah.
It's being
It's being televised on the ABC network in New York.
Oh, it's not Netflix. Well, they'll fuck up the
They're
live
going
stream.
to chop it up, though. It's going to be...
Of course, it'll be a 3-hour thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. That's a Bob Heilman.
Bob Heil.
Heil.
So and most concerts you went to in the 70s, you can tip our hat to him for the hearing loss that we're experiencing now.
You reminded me, Jeff Beck, though, when he used it, he never went
Superstition.
with it. He did it very subtly.
Oh, yeah,
She's a woman.
Steely
Remember?
Dan on
She's a woman to me.
It wasn't a lead instrument. Steely Dan used it on, was it St. Louis East St. Louis Toodaloo and Haitian Divorce, where it's it's just used as a subtle shading, like anything else. But the Frampton stuck it in our faces, didn't he? He's done every song on Frampton Comes Alive.
Stuck it in millions of people's faces.
Wasn't on every single song on wasn't an I'm in You too? I mean,
probably.
You're in me.
That was an underappreciated album. Not okay. Moving on. Hey, you got any other dead people?
I can come up with a couple.
Okay. Are they in your backyard?
That's it. Dun, 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 dun.
Perry, you got any trivia?
Do I have
I
music
feel like
trivia?
losing bad. Yeah, I'm losing bad to trivia. So
I think I have some music trivia. I do. Okay, here's a trivia question then. This American singer-songwriter, Randy Van Warmer, had a #1 hit on the Billboard AC charts, Adult Contemporary, in 1979. And it was #4 on the Billboard Hot 100. Can you name this soft rock classic by Randy Van Warmer?
You walked through the door without turning away. I couldn't stand in your way. 'Cause you left me just when I needed you most.
Yeah, damn, for a guy who has pneumonia, you're doing pretty good.
I'm a professional.
Just when I needed you most. And in fact, my trivia questions tonight are all adult contemporary.
Great.
So they're all on the AC charts or the easy listening charts.
Easy soft rock. Yeah.
Cool, because I want to hear about yacht rock.
All right.
Yeah, that's part of the maudlin 70s. Oh man. What you gonna do when she
Here's
says
another
goodbye?
question. John Denver had 2 #1 songs that topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart and the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart simultaneously. Can you name these 2 hits from John Denver that were on 2 separate charts simultaneously? He's had many other top 10 hits, many other top 40 hits, but these 2 particular songs were #1 on 2 charts simultaneously, Adult Contemporary and the Hot 100. Can you, the release dates were 1973 and 1974. Can you have a guess at those 2 John Denver songs that topped 2 separate charts simultaneously?
Country Roads?
Yeah. And either Annie's Song or Thank God I'm a Country Boy.
Okay, let's go for the answer.
Sunshine
Forgot about this.
on my shoulders makes me happy.
Look at that
Nice
Guild
guitar.
guitar.
Look
Look
at
at
that
that Guild guitar, man.
It's got
its own
dual
microphone.
pick guards.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Sunshine.
The headstock is bigger than my head.
And you got the other one, Lou.
Annie's Song. It wasn't Country Roads.
Like a night in a forest.
What
I
a
have his
voice.
greatest hits. Proud to say.
Me too.
Nothing to be ashamed of. What a great
Nope.
singer, great songwriter, great acoustic guitar. Those guitars sound great. Those records sound great.
I played
like
his
Calypso.
Christmas album at Christmas. Aspen Glow is a great tune.
I love Rocky Mountain Christmas specials. Rocky Mountain Christmas. I love that stuff.
All right, here's another adult contemporary
He
question.
killed it, no God.
Here's another question. This UK singer-songwriter spent 10 weeks at #1 on the U.S. Billboard Easy Listening chart. It was the longest stay at #1 in the whole decade of the 1970s. Can you name this artist and the song? And the hint is it was released in 78, and the album title is the same as the song title. He's a UK singer-songwriter.
78.
Spent 10 weeks at #1 on the Easy Listening chart, which was the longest stay of the whole decade at #1 in the 70s.
Engelbert Humperdinck. No.
78.
Now, the album title is the same as the song title.
Right.
And an additional hint would be his prior record. The album title was the same as his hit song, too.
Redundant.
UK singer-songwriter. In the 70s.
Oh, Al Stewart, You're the Cat. No, time Sausages. No. What's the... Wait, 78. Al Stewart. Yes.
You were right.
It's Time Sausages.
Oh!
No, he sang Stairway to Heaven, too. There's a lady who
Last Train Home. Produced by, of course, it said over there, right? The producer was Alan Parsons.
Alan Parsons,
right?
Yeah.
She's buying.
Yeah, Lou, you got that one. Yeah.
There's a lady.
But the thing is, his album title were always the hit song was the name of the album.
And in fact, I think was one called On the Border.
That might have been the next one. I don't know.
That song has some great drumming on it. There's some great drum fills on that song.
All right, I've got one more trivia.
Okay, bring it on.
And it kind of ties in with where we're going later on in the show too, I guess. So,
like in the gutter.
Yeah. The Beach Boys' classic song "Sail On Sailor" was one of the few hits from the band not sung by Brian, Carl, or Mike. Can you guess who sang lead vocal on that song?
Oh,
and also, did you know that Jerry Beckley sang backing vocals on this song, "Sail On Sailor"?
I didn't know
It's the guy that sang backup for the Rolling Stones in the 90s, Blondie Chapman.
Blondie Chaplin. Great song.
Awesome song.
Blondie Chapman.
That's Keith Richards.
Blondie Chapman. He's from South Africa.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like Keith Richards in that picture.
He does. I wonder if that's Hal Blaine on drums. That was mid 70s. It was like 73,
I don't
maybe.
think so. I don't.
Well,
think so.
they did record it in
$1
Amsterdam. They recorded overseas in Europe. Did Hal Blaine do sessions
so
overseas?
they use Netter beat musicians.
There you go. There you go.
Speaking of
okay, so that's it for music trivia. Unless you have some, Mark.
Can I throw something in there?
Yeah.
We mentioned Holland. I'd like to give a shout out to our friend Mark and subscriber. I think he's a subscriber and friend, Mark from Amsterdam, who liked our segment on Dutch Netterbeat music and gave us a whole list, like 100 bands of that genre to listen to. It's an interesting genre. It's a mix of Indonesian, Holland, people who have interbred, and they made a rockabilly-ish, rollicking rock and roll musical form. Check them out, Netterbeat. And thanks, Mark.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Not
you.
you, Mark Smith, but Mark from Amsterdam. Thank you for
It's good to know people are digging what we're talking about.
Yeah,
and when they say that, he told us a few things, so we're going to go down that deep hole. Like, I'm listening. I know maybe you guys aren't fans of this band, but because Anthony bought me this New Order album, I went down a deep hole, and I was reminded of something. I'm going to give you a multiple choice, knowing that you know nothing about the band, but I'm going to have fun with this. What was the original name of New Order? Now, mind you, they were the Joy Division, and when what's-his-name died, they became New Order.
Mm-hmm. Ian Curtis.
So here's a multiple choice. The original name for New Order was The Witch Doctors of Zimbabwe, or Nose Candy on Watford Lane, or England New Order.
First one.
Third one.
Lou got it. The first one, The Witch Doctors of Zimbabwe. And then they were going to be the New Order, and they were told not to do that because they didn't want to have connotations of being either communists or anarchists. So they said New Order. They made it New Order. So.
A New World Order.
All right. So a few weeks ago, we were talking about listening to a Beach Boys album that Perry recommended called The Beach Boys Loves You. Is that the name of it?
The name of the record is The Beach Boys Love You.
Yeah.
Love You.
Yeah.
So we all listened to it. Now, it turns out that, Lou, you said you've heard it before.
No, not the whole album. I've heard a few songs.
Okay. And Perry, had you ever heard it before?
I have heard one or two songs before, but never listened to the whole record. And I did listen to the whole record quite a few times, in fact. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Interesting.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, what do you like about it, Mark?
Well, I'll tell you what. The first time I heard it, I didn't hear a thing off it. So I hear the first song.
I do have samples, by the way, too.
So I heard the first song, Let Us Go On This Way, and I liked it because, it's got the keyboards in there, and I like that. I also like the idea that Brian was just by himself in the studio. It wore on me. This is only the first listen. By the third song, I couldn't listen to it. I was like, it's just too inward. And I think what I didn't like about it was a Beach Boys album. It should have been a Brian Wilson solo album to me.
Well, it was planned to be a Brian Wilson solo record.
Yeah. But then, like, I walked away from it. I mean, it's a good thing we waited a week because I walked away from it and then I would start listening to it. And then I dug it. I was like, yeah, it just had to warm up.
Well,
it's
why
so
don't we
different.
listen to that song you're talking about? Because this one, it's sung by Carl. And this was the first album, by the way, since Really Smile, that Brian was involved in doing all the writing. And there's no wrecking crew. This is Brian Wilson playing all the instruments except maybe some guitar.
Yep.
Okay.
And
You get to better way through the ringer. Ain't gonna let you slip through my fingers.
And apparently he became obsessed with this Moog Taurus bass pedal, and that's what he was using specifically on that song too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those Taurus pedals became very popular. Geddy Lee of Rush used those, when he's on keyboards to keep bass going.
A lot of prog musicians use
Right.
Yeah, trios too,
Right. And this was, when was this record? 1970?
Is it 77?
78, I believe.
It was in the late 70s, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Terry. 77. Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you like about the record, Lou?
Well, I'd heard a few of the songs before, and the song Johnny Carson, I'd heard that before. I thought, it's, if you don't know anything about Brian Wilson, if you haven't read the books, if you don't know anything beyond the surf music,
he needs a lyricist.
Well, no, maybe yes and no. But no, you're right. But the fact that when I listen to this in totality, I'm like, this is the inner workings of Brian Wilson's mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is his personality, because they said he could be whimsical, mercurial, or mercurical, as Jackson Brown would say.
Yeah.
Innocent. Brian had a certain innocence about him as a person. Maybe even naive. People would say. He'd like.
Which led to some disturbing lyrics on the album. There are some disturbing.
Yeah, but for the most part, when I heard it, it's raw.
Yeah.
It's not a highly produced record, and I think the records that they made at their studio were not the best sounding records in a lot of ways, but the music was really good. It's funny because it came after, was it 15 Big Ones was the record they did before that with their really horrible version of rock and roll music. But remember, the year before is when Brian Wilson was on SNL being dragged into the ocean by Belushi and Aykroyd for failure to surf.
Yeah,
they arrested him.
Yeah, they arrested him. But
so at that point, he was supposed to be in the midst of his mental illness,
Right.
But I read some articles and interviews for that record, and they were saying that he knew exactly what he was doing on that record. He was, like Perry said, he was obsessed with it.
Right. Now, and also, by the time this record was made, Dr. Landy was fired before this.
Yeah.
He was, okay. I thought he hung around until the 80s.
Post-Landy, yeah.
Well, Brian to me sounds healthy. I mean, his voice is ragged. Brian was, apparently the Wilson brothers were nicotine junkies. I mean, Carl Wilson was a chain smoker and kept that beautiful voice all his life.
Well,
that's a gift. That's a gift.
The first song we played, Let Us Go On This Way, was sung by Carl. Roller Skating was sung by Mike.
Yeah. So they use the voices on it. Al Jardine is not on it. Dennis is on it. I don't know what song
Al
Dennis
Jardine's on it. He wrote. He co-wrote. He
did, okay.
Maybe one or two songs.
Okay, but no. What Al Jardine said was that they weren't on so many of the sessions. They would come in almost like on Call Guys and say,
correct. Brian does all the music. Then we add the vocals on after.
But Hal, what Hal Blaine said? Because this was Carl and Dennis's love letter to Brian.
I've heard that.
Yeah. I love Hal Blaine.
Well, let's listen to Roller Skating, sung by Mike Love.
And remember, this came out in 77.
Brian Wilson on drums.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sparseness of the drums too, because it's you know what I mean. It's not like all other Beach Boys stuff.
It's percussive. He's plus not being a drummer. You think differently. Piano players I know people whose instruments primarily the keyboard. Their approach to drums is very unique. Richard Manuel, they play some wacky shit of the band. Richard Manuel, the band, just different. The rhythm is different, Perry. Like you said, it's not, it's like it's not frenetic drumming. Was it true that most of the instruments, it's all synthesized? This was a precursor to a lot of
Wilson
electronic
on
music.
keyboard, synthesizers, and
but
drums
the electronic aspect of it,
right? Correct.
And didn't he play drums? He actually played drums on it too, right?
Yeah, he did.
He played drums. Yeah.
I think, like Perry said, I think he played most of the instruments. But that's when you can hear Dennis. I don't know. I don't know the song titles, but
the next song, Mona, is sung by Dennis. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yep. You want to give that one a listen?
Oh yeah.
It's funny. They still have that old, you know what I mean? Like Brian Wilson he's everywhere. He's all over the place. It's new. It's old. I mean, that sounds like an old 50s doo-wop thing, you know?
And Dennis Wilson died on December 28th, 1983. That was just, I don't know what the anniversary is. I forgot to mention him. No, he died this year. Doom. Yeah, Dennis Wilson, 39.
What about you, Mark? What's your feelings on this record so far?
Warmed up to the music, some of the lyrics, but I have that issue with Brian Wilson. Some of his lyrics kind of make me go.
Kind of sophomoric, you think, maybe in some ways?
There's no Van Dyke Parks. There's no.
Lou put it right when Lou said it's his view of the world. He has like a childlike view of the world. And so I have to accept that. It's hard for me to accept that, you know? But I really warmed up to the music because, in my opinion, it's the subversive Beach Boys album. It's the album that the people who like the 60s stuff are not going to like. So, if you run
I don't look at it that way, Mark. I think you're narrowing it down too much.
It's very subversive, Perry. It's a very rough-sounding album. It's jarring, but to us, it's great. I can't see someone that likes California Girls going, I loves you.
Why not?
Unless they're really a Beach Boys.
I love California Girls. I love this.
Yeah, but most fans left the Beach Boys at Pet Sound. Those hard, like the Bruce Springsteen fans that don't like anything besides Jersey Shore music. A lot of people leave Bruce Springsteen at that point. A lot of people left the Beach Boys at that point. Maybe they circled around back. But, this is definitely harkens back to like the Heroes and Villains, the Smiley Smile. It's Brian's.
The albums that some people didn't appreciate when they first came out, right? Like Smiley Smile.
Well, it's when it happens when you don't have to sell records either.
It's Smile, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the next song is called Good Time, sung by Brian. Lead vocal, Brian Wilson.
My girlfriend Betty, she's always ready to help me in any way. She's doing
Hey, smoking.
It's Brian, what a butt.
the way she can make my day.
His voice sounds great.
It's still there, dude.
That's when I hear that, I'm kind of like, just for me personally, I'm like, oh, it's a little too simple for me. I don't know. It's like I like the bombast of that first track. I like it when they're getting into it. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum,
Brian had a very innocent,
he did.
romantic view of life and love.
Still does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially on like the next
also,
song.
I didn't mention his wife Melinda passed away this year, and Brian seemed to go downhill right after that.
Oh boy, yeah.
You said he has a childlike view. Yeah, solar system.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Good point.
Solar system. It's Brian. Brian, he's
That's all synthesizer. Those lyrics in those lyrics in someone else's hands. I know what you're saying, Mark. I think those lyrics in someone else's hands might seem too goofy or almost like corny. There was always a corny side to the Beach Boys. They didn't play Monterey Pop because they felt they were an anachronism and that they were, kind of cheesy in a sense. But Mike Love is cheesy.
Well, I was going to say, I'm the reluctant Beach Boys fan, and as Perry knows, I've told him it took me years to appreciate them, but the reason is Mike Love. Not Brian Wilson, it's Mike Love. Because growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, if I saw the Beach Boys, it was Mike Love's Beach Boys on TV in the 80s. And it was like,
of course. And the fact that Brian Wilson thought he was a genius frontman is just, Brian was a very innocent, childlike person.
Yeah. And they're also cousins, right? Yeah. So it's all in the family.
And Brian Wilson, he was the worst waxwork dummy I saw, like in Madame Tussauds when I went to England. He had no idea. He had no idea it was him. This is weird.
There's one more song that I have. It's called "I Bet He's Nice."
You don't have Johnny Carson?
I don't have Johnny Carson. Maybe Mark can find Johnny Carson.
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
But I have this one is it's Dennis, Brian, and Carl. It's the Wilson brothers singing on "I Bet He's Nice." It's just the Wilson brothers.
I bet he's nice. I bet he's twice
As nice as being, it makes me cry. 'Cause I remember
Doing their old time harmonies, you know, like their old.
Yeah. And I have to see it for what it is. It's a great composition, and it's. I have to look past my initial.
Yeah.
I just, me. I have this little thing with the Beach Boys, but again, it's not because of Brian.
It's not dark enough for you, Mark, is it?
Yeah, there
it's
you
not
go.
gloomy enough. It's not death metal.
You know what song I really didn't like? I was the one that I said kind of disturbed me was "I Want to Pick You Up." I mean, pat on the.
I can appreciate that the album was
now.
everywhere. It
Yeah.
was, you know what I mean? It's not just, some rigid, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of this, a little bit of 50s, a little bit of pop, a little bit,
Yeah.
I think also that was, more, I guess if you write a song about putting your kid to bed now, it's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about
pat her on the butt.
you
That's
got
what
Johnny
it says.
Carson?
It didn't say powder her butt. It said pat her.
Pat her. Yeah, here's Johnny Carson, a couple seconds of it.
every night at 11:30 he's so funny.
Cool. It sounds bluesy.
It's nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm scared to play more than 10 seconds of the
Sure.
Beach Boys. For some
He
reason,
was a
I
big
don't
Johnny
know why.
Carson fan. Who
He
was?
was. Yeah.
But considering now, there are some pretty decent reviews on this record, by the way, too.
Yes.
Robert Christgau.
Gave it an A. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Uncut gave it 8 out of 10. Uncut is a really good British magazine. They gave it
Are they
8 out of 10.
uncircumcised?
Oh, boy.
You gotta go man-child sometime. Come on. It's been a while.
Let's see. Rolling Stone album guide, 4 out of 5 stars, right? So,
Yeah. And it's also one of those albums, as I understand, after its initial release, has gained appreciation, like many albums. Right?
Are these the original reviews or are these?
These are the original reviews, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting because the record probably sold shit.
Of course. Yeah.
But you think about what was going on, like even Roller Skate Girl, right? That's the disco craze. 78-7 this came out.
Yeah. But how
you
long
know,
did it take Pet Sounds to become a classic record? It took decades.
25 years,
Right?
whatever.
Yeah.
It became I think it became a classic considered in like the late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
good thing it happened.
So, yeah, I'm glad we reviewed that record, The Beach Boys.
Well, thank you for...
The record's actually called The Beach Boys Love You. And it was originally going to be called Brian Wilson Loves You.
Yeah.
So is it on Brother Records? Brother Reprise?
It's on Brother Reprise, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
Warner
Brothers, yeah.
The new Beach Boys played here at Asheville Salvage Station. They were probably one of the last acts they played before Hurricane Helene just came and fucked up the whole town. But it's funny because, I know a friend of mine, she's in her early 40s. She went to see it, and she loved the music, She knows it's fourth generation at this point, but the music itself is what still compels people, and that music was written by Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
And still is.
Yep.
Well, thank you for I'm filling in my holes with the Beach Boys because remember Anthony bought me a couple CDs from the early 70s, Surf's Up and another one. You got me into this, so I'm learning, like filling my holes with the Beach Boys, plugging all the holes and then learning about it. But I won't listen to an album from the 80s. I'm sorry, I just can't. Can't.
That's your decade. It's all you do is listen to album from the 80s. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're right.
Bon Jovi.
You lived in a fucking Night Ranger last week, dude. I mean, come on, man.
It's not like Mark is a senior citizen now or anything. No.
No, I'm a young 55.
We're all young, whatever we are.
All right. I wanted
Kokomo.
to talk to you. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I love obituaries, but not for any sinister reason. But when you read I read the New York Times, the
Cheers you up.
obituaries
Yeah.
will have the careers. Like you read about these fantastic people. Like, you have to, of course.
It's called survivor gloating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I read about this guy, Marshall Brickman, who he actually died about a month ago. And he's quite a guy, quite a character. So I'm just going to give you some of his accomplishments in life. He was born in Rio de Janeiro, but he grew up in Brooklyn. After he graduated college, which one of his courses was music, he played guitar in a band called the Tarriers with banjo player Eric Weisberg. Now, while he was in that band, him and Eric recorded an album of just the two of them together, which contained this song. Wait. You know what I'm talking about.
You know where I live, right?
Yeah. All right. Does this give you bad memories? Anyway.
I'm good. When
he did that album, he did Dueling Banjos, which was later used, as we know, in Deliverance. And Deliverance used that whole album as its soundtrack.
That's not the real name of the song, though. Apparently.
What's the real name of the song?
I do not know, but Dueling Banjos, I think they used that for the movie.
That
became the unofficial
That was recorded in 1963, and that's his guitar playing on it. So, anyway, and right before that, I'm sorry, when he came out of college, he wrote for Candid Camera, Alan Fudd. So he actually got his start in TV, all right?
When your lease suspected, you're elected, it's your lucky day, smile.
So anyway, after the Tarriers, he basically demonstrated some bad timing.
Mark, I introduced. So Alan Fudd, is that Fuck You Next Tuesday?
Yes, it is. Fuck you next Tuesday.
Wait, I got to do the finger. Wait.
Yes. But you couldn't get Terry Jacks up there, Perry.
No, this is preloaded.
Oh, okay. That's our stock shtick.
So anyway, after the Tarriers,
that's an ADHD side road.
We do many of those. I know.
I'll show him.
So after that, he played guitar in a band called the New Journeymen with John and Michelle Phillips. And in a bout of bad timing, he left the band right before they turned into the Mamas and
before
Papas.
they went pop. Yeah.
Wow.
He would have been in that. But he had some good timing. Mm-hmm. He was invited to Sharon Tate's house the night of the Manson murders, but he declined to go to a party in Malibu. Good timing on his part.
What a loser.
Really?
He could have met Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, Manson went to the wrong house. We know that. Yeah.
That's right.
But in the 60s, he also worked for Johnny Carson. Here we go with some, come around.
Guy's circular.
He was on his writing staff alongside Dick Cavett.
Wow.
He created Karnak the Magician. That was his creation.
Wow.
All right.
This is cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, when writers come up with shit. That's what they do. Yeah.
He says that was his greatest contribution to pop culture, he said.
Was Karnak?
That's what he felt. Now, when Dick Cavett left the writing staff to start his own show, Marshall went along with him and became his creative consultant. So he was a creative consultant on Dick Cavett show. He reconnected with Woody Allen in the early 70s after meeting him in the 60s when he was a member of the Tarriers in this folk scene. You know, Woody would open up for them, so they got to know each other. And he wrote 3 films with Woody, the only films that Woody co-wrote with somebody else. He wrote Sleepers, Annie Hall, and Manhattan.
Annie Hall with the creepiest Woody Allen line of all time.
Say it.
He's talking to this young girl at a dinner table. She's like 12. He goes, "You married?"
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. Let's move on.
I'm not a Diane Keaton fan anyway.
Oh, Michael.
After this, he wrote a pilot. This pilot was called The Muppet Show, Sex and Violence. The show later became The Muppet Show when Jim Henson got involved.
Sex and violence?
I want to see. That sounds so bizarre.
Well, Jim Henson created the Muppets, so I mean,
But it proves that it was meant for adults.
I don't want to see him doing it. That's nasty. Kermit and Miss Piggy, finally.
In the 80s, he got back to movies. In the 80s, he either co-wrote or wrote and directed Lovesick with Dudley Moore. I remember that movie. I don't know if you remember that. And Simon with Alan Arkin. Excellent movie. Those were his things. Then he wrote the screenplay for a cute little movie that Richard Gere made called Intersection that I like. It's a very, one of those, you're there when it happens, what led up to that. It was good. I was surprised to see he wrote that. Very good screenplay. But the last thing he did in life, and this is for you, Lou, He heard about producers that were working on a musical called The Jersey Boys.
Oh.
And he was initially not interested until he learned about, he didn't know about the involvement of the mafia with music back then. And he got interested. So he wrote the book. There's a book called Jersey Boys that came out before when the musical came out. So he co-wrote that book. He also did the screenplay for the movie.
Oh, cool. Wow.
So his name's in the movie.
This guy's quite the Renaissance man, quite the bon vivant.
Yeah. And that was like his last big thing in life, obviously.
He's a big Jim DiCarlo fan.
I just think this guy has been a part of so much, and we never heard of him. You know? One thing I like about when he worked with Woody Allen on the 3 movies, Woody Allen was living on the west side of Central Park. He lived on the east side. They were at the same level of Manhattan, so they would just go across the park to each other. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's tough, right? I wish I could do that.
Really. It's one of those guys, you said, we touched upon guys like that before where, like you realize, they might have wrote a song with Willie Nelson, but then you go on further, and they're like, the guy Albie Galutin that worked with Atlantic Records and the Bee Gees, he was a futurist, amongst other things, Tom Dowd working on the Manhattan Project, was it Mike Brickman?
Marshall Brickman.
Well, you mentioned Jim Henson before, right? So in other words, Charlie Chaplin had the film studios, right? Charlie Chaplin Studios. Then it became A&M Studios, Albert and Moss, and the same lot.
Yeah.
Then it became Jim Henson's studio.
Yeah.
And guess who just purchased that studio? John Mayer.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Now owns a recording studio. He owns the old A&M studio, the old Jim Henson studio, the old Charlie Chaplin studios, owned by John Mayer and his business partner.
His partners,
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, I heard that John Mayer, I don't know how true. I'm not going to say because if it's not true, we look bad.
So he started it.
Well,
no, it had to do with Dead and Company. I had heard that.
I know. He's got what he did was he patented the noodle caster. Yeah.
No, I patented the noodle caster. Come on, man.
You didn't. You didn't.
I'm suing you. Call my lawyer.
I coined the term.
So that's Marshall Brickman for you. But
that's cool. Man.
These little guys, well, not little, but I love these stories. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
and they have anonymity.
Anonymity. I can't
Anonymity.
say words.
They're CNN. They're
just say they're anonymous, Mark.
Anonymous.
What's wrong with anonymity?
Paschetti.
Can I go to Poughkeepsie?
Poughkeepsie.
Anyway, Perry, do you have some? We're going to listen and watch Barbara Lynn.
We are going to do that. I'm not doing anything. We're doing it.
I'm not watching.
I said we.
We're going to do Barbara Lynn. She's an old blues. She's still alive, by the way. She's in her 80s, and she's a guitar player. And she was on that hit TV show in the 1960s. And if you listen to the intro, here's the cool thing about this. You'll see. We've talked about it in the past. We've had Freddie King on the show, and instead of counting instead of a drummer counting 1, 2, 3, 4, she smacks her guitar, and you could hear it reverberating in the studio. So it's like boop, 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 and that's the 4 count, and it's like pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this is Barbara Lynn.
Right now with Miss Barbara Lynn.
That guy.
Barbara Lynn.
You hear that 4 count?
Mm-hmm.
She smacked her guitar. And by the way,
she using a pick?
Sure.
The guy with the Rickenbacker 340, I had that exact same guitar in black.
That's a thick Rickenbacker.
It's a great guitar. And by the way, you know who that is? The band leader?
Who?
We've all heard of him. Clarence Gatemouth Brown. That's who
wow.
that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at that Rick. He's got 3 pickup model like I had. That's Barbara
She's a
Lynn.
southpaw.
So she's using a thumb pick.
That's not a Telecaster, by the way.
What is it?
An Esquire?
You'll see. You're right.
Tell your mom. Tell your pop. Nice.
Yeah.
Was she playing a Chender?
That's a Fender, absolutely. It could be a no-caster. Don't know when she bought it, right?
A no-caster meaning, but before the Telecaster was the Telecaster or the Esquire?
Before the Telecaster, it was the Broadcaster. Then remember the lawsuit with the Gretsch Company, who had a drum kit called the Broadcaster, right? And then it was the Esquire.
Esquire.
Right.
Played by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, but his was modified. He didn't play a real Esquire. Yeah. She's
That's
playing a
different
real
neck, I think.
Esquire, and this is how you can tell it's a real Esquire. One pickup. It's under the ashtray.
Okay. Oh, there's no bridge pickup.
Right.
And she's a lefty.
Yeah.
You know what year this is?
Hey, Daddy, don't you do me wrong. Come and love your mama.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Everything's in the pocket. The drumming.
Right there.
Yeah, yeah.
That bridge is covered too.
That's
Right.
Now there's a
covered.
cutout. There's a cutout for the second pickup that Fender always put in there, but that's an Esquire. There's only one pickup under her ashtray.
Yeah, it's underneath it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Fender Esquire. Yeah.
So is this about the same year as the Freddie King thing?
Yeah. This is the
66?
one year this on 66.
66. Left-handed guitars were not common.
That guitar's well played too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at the top. That's her thumb pick hitting it. Now, Perry, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is that what Clarence is playing? Isn't that thicker than your typical?
Well, that's a Rickenbacker 340. That's the one
So
I
it's a
had.
little thicker, right? It looks thick to me for a Rickenbacker.
Yeah,
They always
I
look
mean,
thinner.
Lou knows exactly what the guitar looks like. Yeah.
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 Now, did yours have a rosewood neck or maple?
Rosewood.
Okay, that was a maple neck on that one, right?
Yeah, it was mahogany, but it had a rosewood fingerboard. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but now Gatemouth Browns was a maple fretboard, right? I think makes the neck.
I think he's got a fretboard on there.
No, I mean it looks like a maple fret. It wasn't a dark fretboard, was it?
I don't
makes
know.
the neck look
Makes
the neck look
find
bigger.
out, right? But that's Clarence Gatemouth Brown, the band leader on that show. Yep.
Isn't she? Yeah. What a
I love
band
those.
leader.
I like when you have like a name like an alligator, or like
Yeah,
a lizard.
yeah.
Clarence Frogman Henry.
And they're all from Texas too. You know, he's from Texas. The show's from Texas.
Is she?
Barbara Lynn is from Texas.
Okay. Do you know anything? Do you know whatever became of her? Or was that her?
She's still alive. She still plays guitar. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see.
She's also kind of an anomaly considering she's playing guitar and she's a girl.
Yeah.
She's a woman. Kind of like Bobby Gentry around the same time.
Love that freaking Rickenbacker, man. Love that guitar.
So there's a darker neck then.
He's got a fretboard, yeah.
Now, Rickenbacker's not known as a soul or R&B guitar, really.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. Now, the key is not to fall off those platforms that you're dancing on.
Yeah. She's playing an Escar, and Clarence is playing a Rickenbacker 360.
Nice.
It was live, too.
Which a guitar I love, yeah. I mean, like I had two of them. I had my backup Rickenbacker was a 360, which had the rounded. It was curved. You know what I mean?
That was the was it
the red?
What was Sunburst? The red Sunburst.
Fireglow. It was Fireglow. Yeah.
Fireglow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a bigger body than the other Rickenbacker you had, wasn't it?
No. The 340 is a bigger is bigger.
The black one had a bigger body.
Yeah. Yep.
Bigger.
Yeah.
She lives in the town she was born in, by the way. She still lives in Beaumont.
She's from Beaumont, Texas. Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Barbara Lynn, still alive.
I'm glad
right?
I heard. Yeah. And she's got a lot of singles out. I want to listen to some of her stuff. Yeah.
What charts was she on? I wonder.
R&B, probably.
R&B.
Yeah. She
Back
recorded.
then,
You
they
left
still had
the
separate charts. I think maybe R&B.
But as recently as 1984, she toured Japan and recorded a live album. You don't have to go. So,
Back then they had black charts.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
R&B.
Yeah,
But
but
they called
actually,
it black
some
music.
of them I know, but they named them.
Yeah,
the
they
black
called it
chart,
that. And then they changed it to R&B or something, which is like,
something like
this
that.
is what we hate
yeah,
about
right,
genres.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
God forbid you listen to music outside your genre,
with a a race attached to it, the white charts. That's adult contemporary.
Well, you
that
also
was
had to
Frankie
find, you had
Valli.
to find that station on your dial.
That's
man,
a Tallow Rock, man.
Yeah.
You fucking go, man.
Go,
One
go,
phone
go.
call, Mark. One phone call.
Oh, please.
So we are now ascending
Yeah.
into one, which be
Descending.
We're
fast
digressing.
become
Yeah.
into
We
one
do
of
a
my
lot of digressing.
I said it was
on
going
the
to end up in the
show.
gutter.
we're going into one of my favorite segments, fast becoming one of my favorite segments of the show. I think Perry has some original versions.
Yeah.
of
We have
hit
some
songs.
original versions. Yeah,
Perry, you did the work on it. We give you the
We're
work.
united. We're not divided. We are united.
We are strong.
Well, original Mystery Train.
So
Junior
many
Parker?
people made that song.
It's been recorded 100 times.
Yeah. Even UFO.
Junior
recorded
Walker.
it.
Train, train,
Junior Parker.
Junior Parker.
coming on round the bend.
Love that big sax, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Big baritone
And oddly
sax.
enough, Sun Records. So Elvis, of course,
Sure.
Elvis heard this.
What a warm sounding,
Mm-hmm.
very
big ass
bassy.
saxophone,
Great
right?
recordings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also covered by the band on Moondog Matinee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
been
also
recorded
on
100 times.
And
Yeah.
in the last waltz with Paul Butterfield on the harp.
And British heavy metal band UFO.
Okay.
Yeah.
And hundreds of others. Yeah.
Hundreds
Oh,
of countless,
thousands probably.
Yeah. All right. How about the original Everlasting Love?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Phillips or the David Davids version or the Lewis version.
Open up your eyes, right?
Of the Gloria Estefan version.
Not the U2 version either. Yep.
Robert Knight.
Oh, a great song.
Lasting love.
Now, the version that was a hit on the radio was the White Guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
The White Guys singing it. Yeah, that was the.
Wasn't it like David Phillips or something? Or there was one of those names.
it was a band, I think.
No, I think it didn't have. No, the 3 Degrees.
No, it was 3 Degrees.
No, that was When Will I See You Again.
Yeah.
Mark, you look up the remake of Everlasting Love.
Yeah. Who were the white guys that had the big hit with it?
And also, you too covered it.
Yeah, lots of people covered that song. Yeah.
You know something? It also, but they don't really alter the version too much. Which is the strength of a catchy melody, no matter the artist or the
Right.
song.
So Carl Carlton recorded it in '74. He had the biggest hit with it. And then the duo Rex Smith and Rachel Sweet, and of
Rex
course
Smith?
Gloria Estefan.
Rex Smith and Rachel Sweet. We just talked about her recently.
We talked about Rex Smith. Remember this one?
Yeah.
You take my breath away.
Yeah.
He was also, but as an actor, he was the first actor to play the Marvel character Daredevil in a TV movie.
This
He was on an episode. He was an episode of the Hulk with Bill Bixby.
But that's when, Air Supply was happening
Trivia.
in music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's that. Like, yeah, Rex. So who else, Mark? Who was the white group that had the big hit?
Well,
With
see,
it?
in the UK, it was covered by Love Affair.
Yeah, I think that's them. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, let's see, Worlds Apart. That was '93.
Wasn't one a part of boy band?
Yeah, they look like it. Yeah, an English multinational boy band. An English multinational. Just say a
shouldn't know
multinational boy band.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I had all the record.
They must have been one of the first boy
Who
bands,
did the
too.
original Twist and Shout?
Isley Brothers.
Marky Mark?
Something tells me that's not right.
It ain't right, bro.
It's not. No shit.
The
Wow.
top notes.
Totally different arrangement.
Sounds totally
too.
different. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Now the
Totally
Isley
different.
Brothers, the Beatles did the Isley Brothers version because the Isley Brothers did the but that's the original, the top notes, and
That's the Isley Brothers wrote almost all their hits too. That was that's cool.
That was produced by Phil Spector, arranged by Teddy Randazzo. That guy's famous for writing some dopey Italo rock songs.
Hey, come on, man.
King Curtis played saxophone. Bucky Pizzarelli played guitar on there. And the drums were Panama Francis, people we've talked about, and Gary Chester were on drums and percussion on that song.
Gary Chester, we've talked about him before.
Yeah, and Panama Francis too. Yeah,
Bucky Pizzarelli's son graduated a year ahead of me in Don Bosco.
Okay, well, all right, insert yourself in there. Okay.
What's his name? John.
It's Bucky
7 degrees of New Jersey separation, man.
John Bucky.
But his son's name, because I have a bunch of his albums too. He's a good guitar player.
His son may be named John too.
I think it's John. Yeah. Now King Curtis didn't. So was King Curtis on that tour with Buddy Holly? The last tour they did, because Buddy Holly.
He was at the Shea Stadium with the Beatles in '65. I know.
But on the Buddy Holly story, unless that's a total fabrication, at the very end, before the plane crash, Buddy mentions King Curtis playing on "True Love Ways."
Yeah,
so he was probably on
that
the
was
tour.
'61 in Atlantic Studios. The Isley Brothers recorded it in '63, I think.
62.
62.
So the Beatles did it a year later, or 60? Yeah.
Yeah, so 61,
the
the original.
Beatles did it in 63 too. Wasn't Tristan Shutt on the first English record?
It might have been on With the Beatles, right, or whatever that thing was called. Yeah,
that was pretty timely.
So in 3 years, it was recorded 3 times. It's amazing,
Well, that's the good thing about records, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's amazing. It's so different.
That was pre-information superhighway.
Yeah.
So they were getting the Liverpool records were coming in on ships.
Right.
Yep.
This is before records. The. I want to hear this. Click, click, click on the phone, and there it is.
For instant gratification.
We cannot forget that Rodney Dangerfield sang it in the Back to School movie. Twist and shout
before he did the triple Indy.
and he tests the wind with his tongue.
He was great.
That's it. You want to go into some extra stuff, Mark?
It's time for music relish extras.
Extra stuff.
Bonus.
We have an intro.
I have to set this one up, though. I had to set this one up. Faulty Towers, show I love. Mark, I think you like it. Lou, I think
got me into
John Cleese.
The English have no sense of humor at all.
Well, that's funny you say that. This has something to do with that. So it's interesting you even said that. So his wife is in a hospital having a ingrown toenail extracted. He ends up with a head wound. He ends in a hospital, but he escapes the hospital, right? And it goes back. And at this time, Germans are staying at the Faulty Towers.
Okay.
You can tell where we're going with this, right?
The war.
Sorry, what was it again? A prawn cocktail. Oh, yes, liver prawn, yes. There's and girls. And then pickled pine. Herman Goring, yes. Shops, there was another one. And 4 cold meat salads, please. Certainly. Well, I'll just get your hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres, which must be obeyed at all times. Now and let's hear all about it. So that's 2 egg mayonnaise, a prawn gurgles, a Herman Goring, and 4 folded salads. Oh, wait a minute, I got a bit confused here. Sorry, I got a bit confused because everyone keeps mentioning the war. So could you...
So he's got the wrap on his head because he had a head wound. So that's why he's...
It's all right. Is there something wrong? Will you stop talking about the war? Me? You started it? We did not start it. Yes, you did. You invaded Poland. You'll like this one. Was this one?
Oh,
She's completely stupid. She'd never remember anything. And her husband's in a bomber over Berlin. Oh, sorry. Yeah. She'll love this one. She'll laugh at... Leave her alone. No, this is a street. I mean, I've never seen anyone not laugh at it. Oh, Mary! Look, she'll love it. She's German. Stop you! I'm trying to cheer her up, you stupid Kraus! Funny? Not funny, you're joking! It's not funny for her, not for us, not for any German people. You have absolutely no sense of humor, do you? Oh, what the bloody war!
So, of course, after that, a doctor came in with a syringe to sedate,
subdue him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a precursor to the Funny Walks, the Ministry of Funny Walks.
No, this is afterwards. This is in the mid-'70s.
Oh,
Monty Python was like 1969 till...
okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. That was probably like 1975 or 6. Yeah.
And they only lasted 1 or 2 seasons. 1?
Two.
2, yeah.
12 shows. That's all that exists of Fawlty Towers. Yeah.
You can't do that humor now.
They went out on a high.
Yeah. That was to me, that's edgy. That is,
yeah.
It was in his mind, I think it was probably edgy at the time, but we just didn't.
Well, Monty Python were like the first ones to do that edgy because, England was so staid, and they came out and they shocked a lot of people.
And they showed it here on public television. That's how.
Along with Benny Hill. Yeah. Them and Benny Hill.
when the Beatles first became famous, they were going back and forth to Germany, and Lennon even said, he goes, "We fly Lufthansa because the pilots already know the way." That's pretty funny. It's pretty witty.
Yeah,
but they're all ex-Nazi, Luftwaffers.
There's an extra little thing about the Hollies, I think, in EMI Studios or something.
A few years ago, they'd have been recording on discs, a hit or miss studio session without time for technical refinements.
Tape, newfangled.
Now, the Hollies recording manager, Ron Richards, can graft 4 tracks onto the 1-inch tape on the studio recorder. Start with the rhythm section, add the vocals, then the guitar coloring. And finally, all...
Guitar coloring.
They were pinning the VU there, man.
Mark, I was going to say, they were pinning the meter,
yeah. All tracks combined. A finely controlled layer cake, blended anyway.
Look at that EMI board. They had the sliding brackets before before Tom Dowd invented came up with the other thing, right?
It looks like Mission Control, like early NASA.
It does. It does. It looks like it.
There you want.
Wow.
The reason we do this is not to make sort of good artists out of bad artists. This we can't do. I mean, we can't make a singer sing in tune. If he sings out of tune, we can't do anything about. What we're trying to do, and the reason we use 4-track tape, is trying to recreate on record, again, what the human ear normally hears. A microphone is not as good an instrument as a human ear.
You can do that now. You can make a bad singer sound good now with pitch control, right? With
there's a part of me shivering inside when I see that guy talking. I'm shivering inside because when I worked at CPI, the cassette maker in Hillsdale, New Jersey, mastering, but I had a link to that early audio with Pete. Pete was very old in 1987, and he would work, and if we would do things on the fly. So if I'm doing a master for Beethoven's Ninth, bring up the highs at this point, ride the gain down. But if I did it while I was smiling, Pete would go, "Why are you smiling? Stop smiling. This is serious." Like, they take it really seriously, and I just would be shaking. So I bet you those guys were really tough,
Yeah.
And they had to tune their guitars.
Tune a
Chune-a-fish.
CHUNE. Tune.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Auto tune.
Right on schedule.
Schedule.
I'm proud to say that I have Jimmy Rogers. His anthology of all the Jimmy Rogers songs that there are. It's 2 CDs or whatever it may be, and.
I think he gave it to me, Perry.
I love Jimmy Rogers.
He was a cowboy actor, wasn't he?
What do you want to hear? That old song, Waiting for
It's good stuff.
Singing cowboy.
Right.
Lived in Asheville, North Carolina.
Wow. He's doing that with his lungs. When you have TB, I guess it's easier.
Is that his name on the guitar?
First artist inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
I like the lady behind the screen door. Behind the screen door.
Yeah, she's doing the cooking in the kitchen. Yeah.
Yep. She's making the biscuits.
She got bored. She walked away.
That guitar's in the Mississippi, where he's from, the Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Jimmy Rogers Museum.
It looks like a slim body acoustic too.
That's a Martin. That's a CF Martin.
Okay.
Oh.
I wonder what Ma Kettle over there is sewing. She's
don't
darning
know.
a pair of socks.
She's darning something, right?
She's darning, right? Was that what it called, darning socks back then? Or?
Yeah. Yep.
I had the same pair of socks from kindergarten to 8th grade. Just made them stretch.
Oh, you stop it.
Really?
And
My mom darned everything
Then you
I
split
wore.
your pants at my family's roller rink.
In 8th grade, yes.
I remember going to gym class in grammar
Lord.
school, and I had a pair of socks with one of them had a hole in it, and the gym teacher goes, "Well, maybe you can get a part-time. Like, I'm in the 6th fucking grade. I'm going to get a part-time job. What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Here I am. I'm 10 years old. I'm parking cars. Like little
That's
Henry
good
Hill.
fellas, Lou. That's good fellas.
But
Here's one to be a gangster. Didn't
remember, I
you,
told you I got the stuff from one of those public access channels.
Yeah.
Well, I got another one. Like, this guy.
Okay.
It's like I there's nothing else to say except we'll stop it to.
Song called Full Speed Ahead that my brother wrote. So many
Like, dude, tune the fucking guitar first off.
things I'm pursuing. I don't even know what I'm doing.
That's painfully out of tune.
Oh, I heard that one. That was a clam.
Like, dude, your finger picking's okay.
You're coming onto a TV show. Do you think you would tune your
the
guitar?
fucking guitar.
Do you think you would tune it before they started filming it, right?
Unless he was like, get out there now.
Don't even know where I'm going.
He looks like he's on the pot.
Yeah.
I'm going full speed ahead.
And he's
I'm going
nervous at
full
the same
Great
time.
lyrics, huh?
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
It's getting worse.
It's becoming more apparent.
It's becoming almost like, stop it already, dude. Like,
Oh, no.
and then he strums, and I think when he strums, it gets worse.
Of course. He might be nervous and hitting the neck like too hard and bending the string out of tune too.
We know what you're going through. We've all felt
Ooh.
just like you.
He's singing out of
What you
tune.
need is a helping hand.
Oh! Stop.
Hey.
It's almost over, Mark.
But I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. You better believe you're leaving.
Terry, if I ever play that in front of you, just hit me in the head, please.
But at least you would have your guitar in tune, man, before the filming started,
No,
Yeah.
He would have it in tune.
In tune. Right
So
on schedule.
I just got the warning internet flash. I think I lost connection for a minute there.
You're still here, as far as I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
We
That's
see
happened,
you.
That's happened before. And
So
I
this
guess so.
this show that we're doing today was really supposed to be done last week, but
Yes.
fate intervened, and
Yes.
so we have this Christmas tree with the least angelic person on top is Doyle Hargrave. Remember, like, from the Sling
looks
Blade?
like Dennis. It looks like Dennis.
It's Doyle Hargrave. Like he's the least angelic person I can think of.
Get out of my house. Get out of my house.
We don't got no goddamn band. We don't need to fucking practice, Randy. We don't need a shit-ass manager neither. You motherfuckers. Y'all just a bunch of losers. I'm the only one sane son of a bitch here. Get the fuck out of my house now.
Perry, that was our last recording session, Perry. Come on.
I liked Brett Yoakum's music. I think that's better than his music, actually.
You know better than to talk to me like that. when
Great
I'm
actor.
hurting, Linda. Don't make me knock the piss out of you. Don't you touch her.
Ooh,
That's
Funny, Vaughn.
John Ritter.
It was
Don't
John
you
Ritter.
touch her.
yeah,
Linda,
that's his
go to
Billy
bed.
Bob buddy.
and
Yeah.
take little snot nose here with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his,
that was-
his. Oh, I just sketched out. Shit.
He was the least angelic person I could. You're still here, Lou.
I lost screen.
I'm seeing you. We're seeing you.
Yeah, we see you.
We see you, Lou.
I'm not. Hang on.
Now, the
Strange things are
best thing
happening
about
over
that
here.
scene, Perry,
What's that?
is through the whole scene, it's one take where he's in the living room, and you see Billy Bob just sitting there on the couch,
Yeah.
While they do the whole scene. It's like a 3-minute scene.
Well,
he's just
is that
sitting
when
there.
he says, when Doyle says, "What are you doing with that lawnmower blade? I intend to kill you with it."
Yeah, that's later. But the scene where the kid pushes back and pushes him out, or the mother pushes him out the door.
Oh,
And
yeah,
hits him with beer cans and stuff, right?
Yeah, because that's like a 3-minute
and
scene.
she goes,
one
and
take.
she says, "Leave, leave,
Leave.
leave,
Sounds like Lucinda Williams.
leave."
She's got the most southern accent of any singer, like contemporary, like country singer.
She's from Louisiana.
You can tell it's unmistakable, no matter what she sings.
Accent.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, by the way, since it was Christmas, right? It's now watch this. This is Crosby, Stills, Nash playing at the White House, like for President Barack Obama or whatever, right? And David, this is the first time together in however many decades, right?
Oh.
David starts proselytizing again, and Steven Stills throws a pick at him. Watch, it's like
All part spectacular.
it's the same shit as fucking 1967 with Monterey Pop.
Monterey, yeah.
Like watch. So
Well, but Perry, didn't
But our favorite place.
look, he flicked a pick at him. See that?
no? Did Steve Stills do it at Woodstock? Didn't he go on a rant? Didn't he do
David always went on a rant.
No, I mean Stills at Woodstock. Didn't Stills at Woodstock go on the cranky hippie rant?
And I can't imagine how high they were in 1969. You know,
But, throwing a pick at somebody that could be a fist fight. Come on, stop.
But the point is, Dave,
Mark,
what are you,
a
what are you
drumstick
going
is
on
a fist
about,
fight.
Dave? You're playing for there's the White House in the background.
The president.
You're playing for
president.
the president, and you're going on about your favorite park in California. Like, shut the fuck up. It's really,
Hey, that's a George Carlin. Shut the fuck up.
So
I
guess
this was the last straw for them. I don't think Graham Nash ever spoke a word to David after this.
they were alienated till the end, weren't they?
It's just so bad.
Oh, it sounds like that guy on Public Access's guitar.
It's horrible, and somebody's actually laughing.
What key are they?
Poor guy. I feel
Right,
sorry for
there were
Nash
three
there.
different keys, I think.
Jesus. Ooh.
Oh, David.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Look, she's laughing. She's laughing. That was just like the last straw that there was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
horrible.
guess I don't think he never reconciled, and they,
No, never did.
And doing it at a concert is one thing, but doing it on that stage in front of the White House at an event like
it's
that.
Christmas. The president and his wife are there. All these people are there, and you're waxing about some fucking park in California. Like,
That's David.
That's why Steve Stills flicked shut the fuck up, But they couldn't do that, and so in other words, that was the absolute. Graham Nash even knew. Said, that is it. This is over. We can, this is never going to happen again. Like, so Graham, I would assume that Stephen and Graham were prepared. David was just awful.
He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He didn't care. Yeah. He could see the way he's dressed. He's just standing there. He's got the slacker beanie on. He doesn't care.
I'm sure Graham Nash is. David Crosby was a harmony guy. He was the guy with the pitch.
Yeah.
Figured out all those Byrds harmonies. That was his main thing. Yeah. But it seemed like none of them.
But there's
I don't know if anyone, none of them were on the
people
same
at
page
the
there.
time, like
Yeah. Maybe the temperature was cold, and their guitars.
It was
went out,
wintertime, I would think, right?
January. That's how William Henry Harrison died.
Wow.
Yeah. That's right. Got pneumonia. Just like you, Lou.
I'm
You got to
good.
take care of yourself, man.
I'm running down.
We're glad you're better. Speaking of Christmas,
better.
since we're mentioning Christmas, so I was going to play this last week, but this single came out right before Christmas. See if you can tell me who's singing.
You'll be
Not the girl, the guy.
David Crosby.
with your Christmas of white.
Oh, it's Tony Bennett and Lady Goo Goo.
Tony Bennett?
Christmas.
No,
It's Ronnie Wood singing with Andrea Corr from the Corrs.
Oh.
So he's like, I'll be all right.
Cool.
He sounds good on that, man. It's good.
Yeah.
I like my Ronnie. I like me some Ronnie once in a while.
Yep. Well, do you want to do this thing, Mark, or what?
So, if you've been listening to the show and you enjoyed it, we really appreciate it. Please click the subscribe link. Give us feedback. You can always email us at Perry. What's the email?
Mark, do you know
musicrelishshow@gmail.com.
Okay, I was going to say so there you go.
It is.
We are available.
Yeah.
Keep listening to us, whatever you're listening to. But if you're wondering where you can get us, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Amazon Alexa, Overcast, Podbay, Podchaser, Pocket Casts, Podcast Addict, Odyssey, Podverse, Listen Notes, TuneIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify.
As Lou says, YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. Y-O-O-Z.
Yeah, I think it's musicrelishshow@gmail.com.
And like I said, we get some good mail from people. We appreciate the mail from Mark in, is it Amsterdam he's from?
Mark from Amsterdam, yeah.
Yeah, and feel free to comment on anything. If you want to correct us or whatever, we'd love to hear
I'm
it.
just so glad.
Something.
I'm just so glad tonight that we didn't have to do this.
We did not.
We did not, fortunately.
I will abstain.
We did not have to do this either. Yeah.
No,
Randy Jackson did a great Christmas concert.
Wait, but Perry, the fact that we are, for the audio people, we did not mention Blue Oyster Cult or Zebra once during the whole show.
No, and I would never mention Randy Jackson and Eric Bloom doing anything. You know, I mean, you know.
But anyway, you want to cut this thing, Mark? You want to go to the outro?
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Let's cut. Here we go.
Here we go.
Good night. See you next time.
Well, look how the time flew. Another show has come to an end. We had a great time as always. And as we always say, thanks to our subscribers and listeners. We couldn't do this show without you. So until next week, peace. And remember, enjoy your music, whatever it may be.
Gmail.com. Lucky Logger.
It's Jennifer Aniston.
I think we're having latency. Beanie and Cecil.
Finally did some right notes on that song.
Do 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 do. There comes Mark.
Wish I had an envelope filter back then.
Like us, subscribe to us.
Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
I wouldn't know about
One
that.
ringy ding. Wild Wild West. Robert Conrad and his tight pants kicking your ass.
It's like Tom Arnold, the guy on the right.
Don't get on an airplane anymore. Do not fly, people. Do not fly. Do not get in an airplane.
There he is. Coolest man in show business.
Too big Curtis Mayfield.
We're called Spotify Show.
Old man with sticks.
Do 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 do.
That better be a full Dill Rush. I know that band. They're going to be big someday.
Merry Christmas. The Music
Merry
Relish
Christmas.
Show.
Have a happy new year, everybody.
2025.
Be safe.